let's go inside and meet up with Billy. Take a look in here.
We gotta get it out though, but we gotta keep it.
I mean, it's just like the jungle room. And then the dojo's right through those windows. Look at that. That's one of Elvis's scars. There's a picture of the lady down here in the corner that got it from him. And it says Elvis Scar, Nashville, 1973.
That's Young and Young's wife. Young will be teaching lessons here this Saturday. Excellent. So that's Connery's son. And Young is a 6th Dan. I think he's a 6th Dan, which is 6th-degree black belt. Connery, on tour with Elvis, took these photographs. And he actually, that is his artwork. He did this artwork. You know, Elvis got his black belt certificate. Let me show you a hand drawing of the certificate from Connery. This is his pencil drawing, where Connery actually drew it out the way he wanted it to look. This is an example.
That's great.
This is a photo right here. This was Elvis and Muhammad Ali. You remember that photo.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Elvis liked the way he looked so much in it that he cut Muhammad Ali out and made 8x10s to give his friends, right? So on the bottom of it, it says, to Master Connery, with great respect, best of luck to all members, Connery Self-Defense, Elvis Presley, Mr. Tiger.
Yep.
So he named Elvis Mr. Tiger. That was given to him by Connery. So we have the actual photograph that Elvis signed.
No kidding.
We have it. It's here in the building. We'll reveal it on Saturday when we do our grand opening.
Excellent.
That'll become part of the collection. That's Connery and Elvis out front of here when Elvis gave him a Cadillac. That's Connery's naturalization certificate. In 1973, he became an American citizen or became an American citizen. That is the certificate. It looks like a giant dollar bill. That is his passport when he moved to America in 1964. Those are his driver's licenses. When he was teaching Elvis, that driver's license with the blue writing, that was the license he would have been carrying at that moment.
Oh, this one?
The one with the blue writing on it, where he signed Connery.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Connery handwriting out the design for that belt. So English is left to right, top left to the right. Korean is top right down. So he's writing in Korean here, and he sent this to Korea to have the belt made that you see on the mannequin over there. That's a replica, but he had those made in Korea for Elvis. We have the real thing from Connery too. Actual negatives.
For all
the
the red carpet photos I was showing earlier.
Yeah, that is them. Like that one, that is probably the most famous Elvis photograph that you see right there, karate photograph.
Yeah.
And that photograph happened right there.
That?
Where Elvis is standing in that standee is where he was
crazy.
at in that photograph.
That is so cool.
And I'll show you some proof of that right here. So there's Elvis and Connery right here in the photo. And you see Connery standing, you see the darker paneling on one side and lighter on the other. We actually recreated this. And you can see we even did those details, the darker paneling.
Yeah.
Now this is Elvis and Linda Thompson, Dee Presley, and Vernon. You see the AC vent right there? You see that pipe up there? That's all right over there.
Sure is.
Mm-hmm. So that happened literally right there.
How cool. I mean, how excited were you when you saw this and figured that out?
I was pretty exciting. Now, when I filmed in here, if you watch the video, the guy had, over those AC vents, he had all these giant shelves that were real heavy. We couldn't get behind them. And they were not using the air conditioners in this building. So one of the things that I did, this is, by the way, this is Pat Thompson, my business partner.
We met Pat a little bit earlier.
Pat and I, one of the early things we did, one of the early decisions was brand new heat and air in the building. Yeah. So we put 3 brand new 5-ton units in. And we also did split units in some other parts of the building. And you can feel the AC works great.
Oh yeah, it's great.
This thing is like a giant cave because there's no windows in it. It's real hot, but you see it. It feels really good in here. But Pat and I built most of this ourselves. Now we had some help.
We were like this, joined it.
Yeah, for a long time.
I bet.
And my wife actually got mad with me because I was here. You know, she said, you know, we didn't talk about you being gone so much. And I said, you know, I didn't know, because Pat and I discussed it. Our idea was to hire people to do it. Well, we figured out that that wasn't going to
That
happen.
wasn't going to happen.
You picked literally like the worst time that you could have ever tried
probably.
to.
But we worked about 5 days a week for 6 months in here, and to transform it from a machine shop to what you see.
Oh yeah. When I walked in, I just held my head.
Yeah, he kind of looked at it and went, are we really going to be able to do this? I didn't know he was thinking that. But you know, I could see, believe it or not, I could see all this in my head. We just had to make it happen.
And you know what? Elvis would have made it happen.
Yeah.
If Elvis would have decided one day, I want to bring this thing back, he would have. So I mean, that's
a fact.
that's the spirit of doing this kind of stuff, you know.
And we started. The first thing we did was black this room out because I knew this was going to be the museum, so we painted it all black. And that was really probably the very first thing. Then we started tearing walls out up front.
Yeah.
And doing stuff like that. That pinball machine, by the way, you've seen the pinball machine.
Yeah, that's the one from
we'll
the.
Turn it on and let you play it, but that is the exact pinball machine
racquetball.
that Elvis. He actually had it originally in his office upstairs, and the Smith boys that are here that lived at Graceland at the time, if you'd like to talk to them, we'll talk. And so Danny, they lived there, and they would play this pinball machine in Elvis's office, and I think it was too loud, so they sent it down to the racquetball court. Originally, that was upstairs in his office. Elvis loved pinball. The photo with Elvis, the bicycle or poplar, you know, by the telephone pole.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was there. He would play pinball in that pharmacy. That's why he was there.
That's great.
Yeah, he loved pinball. Elvis did. This car was Elvis's car when he was a child, and after he outgrew it, Aunt Gladys passed it down to Billy. That is Elvis's car. That's a 39 model Tootsie toy. That is a number 148. That's a 6-inch jumbo sedan is what they call it. It had wooden wheels. That was Elvis's when he was a kid.
And he probably didn't have too many toys. So.
No, but Billy got 3 items from him. He got that and 2 trucks that are vintage, 30s, early 40s. Those lamps, Billy and those guys lived in double wide trailer behind Graceland. Those lamps, Elvis went on a shopping spree with them to buy them furniture, and those lamps were something that he picked out and paid for that day. They were in the trailer.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. And we've got a lot of other cool stuff here, like that razor Elvis gave Billy in 1965. That was Elvis's razor. When Billy started shaving, Elvis gave it to him.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that's Billy. That's their dad.
Yep.
They work here. That is Bill Morris. Bill Morris is famous for being in this photo. Bill Morris is the guy that went to the UK and brought James Earl Ray back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bill comes to the museum a lot. He'll be down here some. And so you see Dr. Nick right here. Notice the shirt that Dr. Nick is wearing.
The white-haired gentleman right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is that shirt right there. That was rescued by Trey, where after Dr. Nick passed away, can I tell the story, Trey? Is that okay? After Dr. Nick passed away, his daughter cleaned the house out and took everything to like a vintage store and sold everything. Trey happened by there, stopped, and picked a shirt out that happened. He knew Dr. Nick.
I was friends with Dr. Nick.
No
he
kidding.
stayed with Dr. Nick.
So how this happened?
So he goes in the store and picks out a shirt, and the guy goes, "Hey, you an Elvis fan?" He was buying the shirt, and the guy, he said, "Yeah, I'm an Elvis fan." He said, "Well, let me show you this." This was one of the shirts that was in there, and what's crazy is at that moment, Trey was actually staying with Dr. Nick's son, Dean.
Yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, while he was in town.
I mean, what are the odds that one shirt out of 5,000 in there was Dr. Nick's that I picked out without knowing? And I was really close to Dr. Nick, and he had just passed away a few months earlier.
So he bought a bunch of shirts, picked them out, and he recognized that shirt.
You were meant to have that shirt,
got
man. I
the
mean,
I think Dr. Nick was helping me out,
I
or
think
Elvis
so.
or someone from
Yeah.
He got the photo out and showed the guy. And the guy was like, "Well, I don't want to sell it to you now."
I was saying, how much was he charging you?
$30. And I grabbed it, and I said, "Man, check this out." So I go up to my phone, I pull that picture up, his eyes lit up.
Yeah, you never say that until after you pay. I've learned that lesson.
Hey, Jordan, I was holding that shirt, man, because he wanted. If I walked out and came back in to buy it, how much you think that shirt would have been?
Yeah.
So that you said the next day after this photo.
Elvis took that photo right there, and the very next day, him and Linda went to Dick Moore Mobile Homes right up the street here on Elvis Presley Boulevard and purchased a mobile home. If you look, the date right here on the contract is September 17th, 1974. He paid $19,495 for it. He paid $3,000 down and financed it. If he'd have paid it off, he would have paid $43,000 if he'd have paid the whole note. It was 13% interest. So what do you think happened when he sent that contract to Vernon?
Oh, I'm sure Vernon flipped out.
Yeah, well, Vernon said, I'm not paying that. I'll just pay it off, right?
Yeah.
So there's a copy of the check where he paid it off. There's the actual envelope that that check was mailed in.
What a great collectible. Wow,
And
what a piece of
then
history.
There is the contract right there, the financing contract. We have it as well. So when I was filming with Dick Moore, I actually interviewed Dick Moore about this, and I interviewed with Dick Moore for a couple of reasons. Dick's brother sold Elvis the trailer, right? And the way he said it happened was, he said Elvis came and Linda, and they were in there, and and people kept coming up. And he said these 4 girls came up in the car because they follow Elvis everywhere he went. Mm-hmm. So he got a business card, wrote his name on, autographed it and handed it to the 4 girls, and they're gone. Somebody else pops up, he writes the name on the back and hands it. So I made a note of that when we were filming, and after we were done, I asked him about it. So I said, at the end, I said, Dick, Elvis didn't have business cards. He said, no, it wasn't Elvis's business cards, it was my brother's. He was taking them and signing the back of them and passing them out.
Oh, cool.
So I want you to look. That's Dick Moore's brother's business card. Look on the back of it.
That is definitely.
Nobody knows to fake it. I've never put the story out about whether Jesse was buried at Orville Bean's grave.
Right, that's always the
Orville,
theory.
Orville was his landlord at the time, and also Vernon worked for Orville, so maybe.
Yeah.
So we're standing there, and we're filming and just talking about it, and it's a graveyard that's tree covered, and this guy's walking, and I didn't notice him because it's right beside a baseball field, and this guy walks up, and he said what he did was every day he would go there and walk because it was tree covered, because it was, in the
nice and shade, yeah.
But it was a good ways from his house, probably almost a mile.
Yeah, it was.
And so when he walks up, and we talked for maybe 20 minutes, and at the end of it, he said, my teacher in 1956, Miss Camp, gave me a book that Elvis wrote his name in. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. What did you do with it? He said, I got it. You want to see it? Yeah, I want to see it.
Yes.
So he jumps in the Jeep. We take him down to his house. He goes in the back and comes out with this book that this lady gave him in 1956. Now, he didn't know us. He just walked up.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the book. So you see that Elvis wrote his name right here in the bottom. It would have either been 1946 or 1947. He would have been in the 6th grade. And this book,
this is not an autograph. It's not like he was autographing.
No, it was just him, a kid,
property.
writing his name in a book in the 6th grade. So what's cool is, in 56, he said what happened was the teacher said, kids, I've got all these old books. He said there was a stack of books. And I'm going to lay one on each student's desk because these are going to be thrown away. If y'all want them, take them home. So he said what happened is, the one that was laid on his desk was the one with the Elvis signature. He said, I didn't know who Elvis was. It was early 56. By late 56, Elvis had done the homecoming, and everybody in Tupelo knew who Elvis was. So he said, I got the book. He said, I never did anything with it. And he said, I talked to a couple people, but nobody seemed interested. And but he got it in 56. Elvis wrote in it in 46 or 47. That is the oldest signature that is not at Graceland.
That's so neat. Mm-hmm. Man.
And we found it from a dude just walking up to us in a graveyard.
Walked up to us and talked for 20 minutes without
before he ever mentioned it.
Was he even an Elvis fan?
No, he just had it. Yeah. What's crazy to me is how a guy that got something in 1956 can go in the back and come out with it. I can't find stuff I bought last week.
Yeah.
You know?
He knew exactly where it was.
Yeah, he really did. At the top in pen.
Marianne Smith, yeah.
She wrote her name in it September 14th, 1942. Just above the Marianne, it says Jean in pencil. You see that?
Yeah.
All right, so I want to point out something. Look at Elvis's signature on the I. You see how he didn't dot it, he pulled it down?
Yeah.
Okay, so now look at the 9/14/42, and it's real faint, but it says, I like her sister. And the I in sister's pulled down that same way.
So Elvis wrote that.
Well, I found Marianne Smith and said, Marianne, tell me about you writing your name in this book. What was the book? And she mentioned Miss Camp again. She was a student of Miss Camp as well. And I said, who is Jean? Jean is my older sister. Okay, so how old was Jean in 46 and 47? She was a senior in high school. So Elvis was in the 6th grade crushing on Jean, a senior.
I love it.
And wrote it in the book. All right, so this standee right here is to denote, so you can get your photo made with Elvis standing here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had that made in Nashville, and the grand opening was the next day. I didn't want to drive all the way back to Nashville. I wanted to, so I got one of my guys in Nashville to meet me halfway, and I went and picked it up, got back here about 11:30 at night. So we bring it in here and we sit it here. So I got the first picture made, and I'm gonna show you this photo. And this is just me posing with it, which just looks like me posing with a standee.
Okay.
All right, so then, I'm probably gonna flip it the wrong way. No, I'm right. Then Joey, which is a family member, poses with it, and it looks like Elvis and Joey. Look at that photograph. You see Elvis is further back in that photograph. People that were in this room said, did you see that thing move? Elvis came alive for just a moment for that photograph right there. So I'm going to show you the other one. Look at that one. It looks like me with a standee. Look at how straight his arm is. Now look at that one, how far back he is.
Yeah.
It's noticeably different.
Like he's going to spar.
That's right. And people in the room said something about it moving. Where you see that blue star right there is where Elvis is standing in that photograph.
But this wall wouldn't have actually been here. You're saying that it was
and so I
into the museum.
The photo, you remember the vents in the back? That's
yeah.
So they're on the other end of the building. I did the photo so you could get a sense of what it looked like all the way.
Yeah, that's where we were just talking back there.
That is awesome.
And then let me show you this real quick. Look at this. You see that light switch? It's hard to make out. You see how wide it is?
Yeah.
And there's a door and a light switch. Look right here. There's the switch. And there's the door.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Now that garage door was not there, but I'm glad it's there. If it wasn't, I couldn't have ever got the ambulance in.
I bet.
This is Elvis and Linda sitting over here. The chairs were more like this. We leave them like this so we can get out, but they were something like that. So it's Elvis and Linda sitting here. You can see in this photograph. That is Dean Nicopoulos. That is Pat, Red West's wife, George Klein, George's wife, Angie, David Stanley's wife, and Jill, which was Richard Davis's girlfriend at the time. And then this young man, Elvis did a belt test for him and raised him from a yellow belt to a green belt. He has the green belt on.
Can you imagine getting your belt from Elvis?
Isn't that pretty cool? Now look at the air conditioner vent right there. And there it is right there. Visually on the ambulance, you can look in the poster and see the bent front bumper, which is probably the only thing that could happen to it that they can continue with, that years later you can look at a photo and go, yep, that's where it happened at. So Elvis could have done karate anywhere. Elvis did karate in a room with white I-beams in the middle of it. Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So you can look at those photos and go, yep, it was right here. I changed all this to LED.
You can see the beams in the picture over there.
That we'll be teaching this weekend.
That's Kangaree's.
And you see how Connery is with Elvis, how much shorter he is. See how high, there's a poster of that we have. He is 5'3", he could kick the back of a 10-foot basketball goal. Wow. The backboard from 3 steps.
Wow.
Back in the day.
So one of the things they sell here are the karate dojo gis, and they also sell patches, and I said, if you can make me one like Elvis's, I'll buy it. So they're warming up the presses.